with so much confidence and swagger, and it became a very obvious Switch premise to me, with the elements of K-pop, where it was just, take an insecure Korean American boy who grew up in Ohio that nobody ever noticed, and then put him in Seoul and have everyone be like, he's the most gorgeous person I've ever seen in my life. And so I wrote the script basically on research and my musings of imagination of what it might be like, and then I went to go see K-pop Broadway just as a fan of K-pop, and in the musical there were a lot of different Asians because this is America, and there were Chinese cast members. Like everybody like did such an amazing job, and it was the first Asian American Broadway show with an Asian cast. But Kevin stuck out immediately, and I was like, that guy's an idol. He dances like when he sings like when his face is an idol. And I looked at the program, and of course it was, Kevin who was in UKISS. And so I got his email from a friend who was also in the musical and was going to star in my first movie. And I sent him a cold email with a pitch deck with someone else in the deck that I'd photoshopped of with different scenes of his normal day-to-day thing. It was Mark from NCT 127, if anybody is a fan of that. And so, and then I was like, would you be interested in this project? And he was like, yes. Let me read the screenplay. And then he read it in a week. And I'll let you continue.
Yeah, I believe how we met was fate. Honestly, it was a match made in heaven. Honestly, when she sent the script over to me when I read it, it was my life story, because for those of you who don't know me, I grew up in the Bay Area, and I moved to Korea at the age of 15 to pursue K-pop. Growing up in the early 2000s in America was just really difficult as an Asian American. There was no representation for us in the media, and I loved singing, I loved dancing, I loved all sorts of performing, and for me to pursue my dreams, I felt like I had to go back to my motherland to start my career. So fast forward 15 years, I did the whole, K-pop route. I just did tours just casually around the world. Girls following me everywhere, just trying to take off my clothes. Lived that whole lifestyle, and then I moved to LA just 3 years ago, and then I wanted to pursue acting, and I started my solo career out here. And then I had the privilege of being on Broadway, and I really, I'm grateful for that experience, but also grateful that I met Liann, because then, Soul Switch came to life. And for me, it was just really important for me to share this story, because I feel like this film is something that my younger version of myself really needed growing up, and I believe, the younger generation of Asian Americans really need someone that represents them on screen. And not only Korean Americans, Asians, anyone who has a diverse cultural background, who just don't really see themselves, enough, and need to hear and see, people like them. So I wanted to share my story, which is really unique. I feel like, there aren't too many Asian Americans or Korean Americans who go to Korea and then come back to America with all that experience to, start from scratch here. So it's been a difficult journey, but as I'm navigating my own career in life, I want to also influence and really just, be that role model for the kids who need it.
Aww.
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys brought that up. Nicole, I would love to hear how you got involved in the project as well. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but I think it's a great story.
Yeah, so I actually used to work with Liann's sister Charlene. She does music for the film, which is incredible. And we used to work at this office job together. And she ended up bringing me on to produce a music video that she was directing from an artist. And then turned out that Liann actually directs all of Charlene's music videos. So then I got introduced to Liann that way. Directed a couple of Liann had directed a couple of music videos that I produced. And then she had this idea for Seoul Switch. It was a pilot at the time. Sent it to me to read. I was like, I love this. And she said, do you want to come over and watch the Lizzie McGuire movie for research? And I was like, I can quote that movie backwards and forwards, absolutely. Yeah, and then when Kevin signed on, it was right before the strikes last year. And so it was a great time to just make a proof of concept, to make something, to showcase what the future version of this could look like.
It's I'm so glad that you all met each other. I'm so glad that we have a chance tonight to really get a chance to talk about that more. I love what all of you were saying. Really, when I think about a through line between both of your films, there's a scene in Seoul Switch where Kevin's characters are speaking to each other and like really speaking confidence. Like you can be a star here. Essentially, there's a line in extremely unique dynamic in the beginning, essentially in the first 10 minutes, where you guys ask each other, "Have you ever been a leading man?" And then Ivan says, "I've been the lead in a commercial," and like it's this idea that you've never like been the star, but this is your chance to be the star. Maybe like you can become this. Like this is a part of your journey. And what I really want to hear about is like you guys wrote a movie and directed a movie about exactly that. What did that mean to you to really create a film where you are the writers and the directors? It's funny when you introduce the film because you're such a long multi-hyphenate, but it's very true. You guys did this, and what does that mean to you to have really led and paved the way for yourselves in this way?
Oh, me? You can go first. Oh, sure. So this movie is really important to me because, I've been acting for 15 years, and I remember my first ever role was on this TV show called V, and I was Chinese boy number 1. And that was, back then, like, when you audition for things, you were often like, I talk about it in the movie, but like, you're like a nerd or martial artist, but you're never really given any depth. You're often an information pusher for the leads, and it's very rare, even now, to see 2 Asian men leading a film, because oftentimes you have one Asian guy and like, great, you can check that diversity box. You have 2 or more, then it's now like an Asian movie or an Asian friend group. And we really wanted to create that opportunity for us to both be leading men in the same movie, where it doesn't have to be an Asian movie. It's just a comedy. It's about friendship, and we want future generations to see that, like 2 Asian guys can exist as very fully rounded out characters that can be comedic, that can be dramatic, all in one. And if we didn't create this, I don't know when we would have been able to be in anything together, especially as leads. So that's why it was really important for us to also, write it, direct it, produce it, and create the film that we wanted to create.
Yeah, Asian American representation is still in its infancy in the television, film, entertainment world. I mean, it's only been like 7-8 years since Fresh Off the Boat came out. I mean, like, if you want to go way back, there's All American Girl, but like the first like ways, like, mainstream thing was Fresh Off the Boat. So yeah, we're just starting. Like, when we started acting, like, I know, like, the transformation I have right here, but the first job I've ever gotten was random jock. And that's probably my real self. But I only had like one word, like and that's basically it. And going, like, just seeing the progress from just having just little walk-on roles, just for Asian Americans, it's starting to grow and grow and grow more. And then Shang-Chi happened, and then Everything Everywhere All at Once. And it's just really interesting seeing, like, oh wow, now Asian Americans are considered leading characters, but like it kind of went way to the other side of it. Where it's like, oh man, now it's like, before it was like charactery, just like walking roles, now all the Asian guys are freaking hot with strong jawlines and pecs and six-pack abs and like six.
Kevin.
Oh man, holy shit! I know. Oh man, great to have one in your life.
Well, to build off that though, like, I do think we wanted to explore what the beauty standard was in Korea versus America as far as like hyper masculinity in America, like six packs and like, you know, like gritty like Chris Evans or even whatever Simu or something, as opposed to Korean beauty standards, which are more like feminine, softer, like beautiful. So, but yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, I think that you both of your films really accomplished that. Like, it's very profound and quite amazing, especially as the Philadelphia Asian American Film Festival, to see your films. Because I think I've said it to you all individually, but I had this feeling when I watched your films, like, if we don't program this, when are we going to see this film again?
Yes.
We may not. We may not get this film for a film like yours for a while. And we get a lot of great films, and we always will get a lot of great films, but I had this idea that we need to watch these films together because we may not get to ever again, or for a while, rather. But just switching gears just a little bit, because I really want to get to some audience questions. One thing I really want to hear from all of you is, because the script writing is phenomenal, by the way, and I know like some of it may have been improv, but the writing is great because you guys are great writers. But I want to know, like, what is your favorite line from the film? Like, what is your favorite line that you say, or maybe someone else says? Well, Kevin, like either you or other you. Yeah. Do you want to take a second and think? What is the favorite? Do you have?
I got one.
Yeah, go for it.
My favorite line in the movie is like in the making of the movie within the movie within the movie. One of my characters like. Making a movie actually makes me feel like a filmmaker, because I feel like often as Asians, specifically in entertainment, like we always strive for excellence and like everything has to be perfect, and especially in filmmaking too, where like the art is so special, you want to make sure you have that perfect thing. But I feel like sometimes we often trap ourselves in trying to make that perfect piece of art that we never actually get started. And I feel like for us, you know, we had a lot of momentum going for us, but we just really wanted to create something for the sake of creating it, because I feel like, you know, we want to showcase this in the movie, but when we're kids, we would just pick up a camera and just shoot stupid little videos or like put skits up on YouTube, and we didn't care what other people thought. We just did it because it was fun. And that's a lot of that feeling that we want to put behind the movie, and we want to inspire other people that you also can make a movie, and it doesn't have to be like the super precious thing all the time.
My favorite line is, I really value you as a friend, because I say this to you all the time. Or, $5 for a double. Or, there's burgers in Canada, dude.
Those are great lines. Nicole, you have the answer too.
Ooh, okay. I mean, so my favorite line that always gets me every time is just when DJ gets the glasses and says, "These are fake." It's part of my look. It's sexy. I always think of that as such a like, yeah, you're wrong about what sex appeal is. This is actually sexy. You're incorrect. And you know, DJ tries to say, "Who told you that?" But I always love that moment of Moon just being like, "Yeah, they're sexy."
Oh man, I feel like I'm gonna get emotional. There's so many iconic lines. There's so many funny punchlines. But you know, we all have the laughs. But those are all the great ones. But something that really like stood out to me was when, after that whole montage of us wearing different costumes and Moon teaching DJ how to dance, and then after they're laying on the floor and DJ says like, "Wow, like no one's ever taken the time to look at me like that or see me in that way in my life." It's like if you look at that scene, it's like I'm telling myself that, and then it's like no one really needed to tell me that. It's just like I was enough for myself, and like I know it's emotional, I know, but it's like I was all that I ever needed, and I needed to see that within myself, and that just it really empowered me so much. Even when I was shooting this short film, it was really therapeutic, and it was something that I needed as not even just an artist or a K-pop star, as like as a human being. So thank you, Liann, for facilitating this environment for me.
I really love that answer. I feel I might go more comedic after that, but that's really, really special to hear because you've actually never told me that before, and that's really, really sweet. I will say that I had a lot of fun in rehearsal with Kevin, just like riffing on things, because I think he really did put his own personality. He put the Korean in. He put his own ideas, and so I think there was a point when you were riffing on all the things that Moon could say to DJ to insult him that were compliments in Korea. And I remember specifically you being like, "You have a tiny head," and you were like, "Yeah, when I went to Korea, having a tiny head was good. Everybody said I had a tiny head." And then, yeah, like, what's the most insulting way you could say that? Like, he can't grow facial hair, like smooth, like a baby's butt, and then like so pale, like you've never seen the sun. And it's just like really fun inversions of everything that Americans think is hot for men, and for it to be completely opposite in Korea. And largely in Asia too, but then that gets into a different world of beauty standards within and between the Asian races. And I feel like I should talk about the fact that I am Chinese American. Everyone thinks I'm Korean, even though I did this movie. But I think this film became really meaningful to me when, as an Asian American, I was like, oh my god, K-pop stars, like everyone likes Asians now. And then when I went deeper into the beauty standards within the K-pop industry, I realized like, oh, Chinese people are still like, not the beauty standard in Korea. And so I think all of this research has made me realize how arbitrary all of these standards are, and it doesn't matter. And I think, yeah, Kevin just like walking around DJing being like, the way that you stand, move, talk, like that's the problem. And I think it's really meaningful to see him transform between both to show you what we might think is attractive or not. It's like, he has to believe it, and then we see it, like we see that visual on screen.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Wow, we had a real great range of answers there. Thank you so much for all of you for sharing that. I do want to open up the questions to the audience. So if you have a question, may I have the mic that has dead battery? Can I swap this out to?
It's just like feedback.
Oh, it's just feedback. Okay, so we'll run this one. Thank you. If you have a question, right here in the front. I saw your hand first. If you have a question, raise your hand and we'll run you a mic. Can you run that mic right here, please? Oh no, it's not dead. It was just feedback. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Knowing your journey from youth to solo to now, this role, very personally, was it very cathartic for you and your journey, and how meaningful was it for you?
Yeah, great question. Like I mentioned before, yeah, it was very therapeutic. It was very cathartic because it was like, yeah, I got to look back on my life and all of my experiences and what led me to who I am today and what brings confidence to me as Kevin Wu, as a Korean, but also American. But yeah, this whole process was very helpful for me to discover that. It's still an ongoing journey. It's only been a few years since I moved back from Korea to the States, and now I'm pursuing the arts here. But it's really just about the confidence. It's like beauty standards, all that aside, it's all the, experience that really just shaped me into who I am today. So I really, am hopeful for the future. And I believe that the more confidence I exude, it'll help the younger generation really find their confidence in themselves, whatever race they are. So yeah, I just feel really hopeful for the future.
Good, thank you. Any other questions? I think we have one. Let's see. Oh, Riley, right there in the back, right there. Yeah.
It's okay.
Hi, this is a question for both films. After watching the credits and apart from Asian representation on the screen, how important, if at all, was it to also get an Asian crew behind the scenes?
It was actually really difficult to find an Asian crew for us, to be honest. Because we were actors, we didn't have the network for Asian crews. And when we were looking for Asian crews, there was not, because we're first-time filmmakers, we couldn't find the crew that we wanted. And also, like, when we were Googling, because that's the only way that we could find it, they were all very dramatic. So we tried to prioritize as much as possible. But, like, I think that it's really important that, like, from now on going to the film festivals, like Philadelphia Asian Film Festival and all the other Asian festivals, we started building, like, a big network of really talented Asian crews, directors, producers. So after this experience, now we actually have the network to have a more full Asian crew.
Yeah, do you want to speak on the production design in particular too?
I have a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, so one thing that was really important to us was having a production designer who would really be able to encapsulate Korea. We did a lot of location scouts and could not find a location that would work in New York. So Bethany Yeep, our fabulous production designer, she built that entire room on a soundstage. She and Sammy Kim, her art assistant, they worked extremely hard to really replicate what a room in Korea actually would look like. And we talked to Kevin a lot too about what a dorm situation would kind of be like, to see what would sort of be believable, what wouldn't be. They did a ton of research. Bethany is an Asian production designer that Liann had worked with on one of her first projects. And we actually did have, we had a lot of Asian crew members as part of the crew, and that was very important in telling the authenticity of the story of having people in behind the scenes roles who were making creative decisions who were also Asian.
Yeah, it's really important to me to hire diversely because I feel like I've been shut out of a lot of positions, and I think that it's actually a really important secret weapon to hire people that are really hungry to prove themselves on a job where they get to be the department head. And so our cinematographer works as a full-time Steadicam operator, but she's just dying to be the head of her department. And that goes for a lot of people on the camera team, people producing. Like, everybody wants to get to the next level, but you have to give them their first one. And so I think our crew was really hardworking and really excited to be working on something narrative, because a lot of the set people live on commercials that they don't find very inspiring. And I do feel like as filmmakers, there are a lot of eyeballs on us to make sure that we're practicing what we preach as we put representation on the screen, to make sure that it's behind the camera too. So I really do love that part. I also want to say we had a lot of Koreans on set to make sure that all of the Korean was on point, and Kevin also had a number. We had some doubles because we did it the way that Lindsay Lohan did in The Parent Trap, where in that movie she had a lot of little redheaded girls that were exact same height and had her hair, and so we had some doubles, and so we hired 2 Korean actors that were from the K-pop cast, but then we also ended up using our camera PA, who was Korean and the same height, to sometimes just have to throw him in the clothes. Our first AD, to shoot the back of their heads while Kevin was in the camera. So yeah, I love it.
Great question. Let's take one more and then wrap it up. Okay, right there, yeah.
I'm not sure. Hi guys. Oh, that's really loud. So first of all, I just wanted to say I loved Soul Switch, and I'm so glad that I was able to finally see it with my mom. And also your other film was so good too. But I have like a million questions, but one burning one, which I'm sure so many people probably want to know. I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell us or not, Liann, but from the songs that Kevin actually did for the movie, for like the OSTs, could you at least give us a hint or a wink if there's going to be like a CD or something later on? Because that would be so amazing. Thank you.
Yes, we are first looking for our online premiere. So if you know any journalists, we're looking to premiere it somewhere and then we're gonna put it online. But the ultimate goal is to make it a feature film. Like, so the feature script is written. This has been a proof of concept that we've been working the festival circuit with to be like, this is something that people want to see, this is something that needs to be made. And yeah, we want to do a whole album and everything.
We want to get all the features on them. We want to get all my friends on it, like all my K-pop friends. Not friends, but yeah, not the rap.
I was like, maybe I can have a shot at getting.
We'll take them though. We'll take those as cameos.
Yeah, even cameos in the feature. Like we have so much that we envision. So hopefully that'll come to life next year.
Yeah. It will manifest our dreams.
Thank you everyone for all those questions. They're wonderful. So as we wrap up, I just want us to pass the mic around one more time. Want to know like where we can follow you so that we can keep in touch with your journeys. I think that's one thing that's very special about film festivals in general is like I love what Harrison said and what Ivan said too about this being a place where you actually make connections. One thing that you'll probably hear me say a lot when I'm on stage is that I hope you leave here with a friend. It's because I think that festivals and community spaces like this are very important. And that's honestly one of the reasons why we love welcoming filmmakers into our space, is because you bring people together. Your art, and I want you to know, I'm just truly so proud of the work that you guys did. It's phenomenal. So funny, so rich, and so very proud that you were brave enough to bring this into the world. But also, we want to follow you in the not creepy way, but like we want to follow you. So if you could just share us like where we can follow your journey online and like what we can be looking forward to, if there's anything that you want to share. Yeah, let's start there and then make our way back here.
I want to give Joey a big thank you too. He had such a personal touch with this festival and really cares about the filmmakers. And as you heard, like he's the one saying we need to shine a light on these filmmakers to encourage them to keep going forward and making more films. And this sort of recognition and support is really what makes it worth it and makes us want to keep going. So thank you, Joey.
Thank you.
You can follow us at Seoul Switch, Seoul like Korea, Switch. That's our Instagram handle. It actually really does help for you to follow us because then we can show studios and investors and all this stuff that there's an audience that cares. And yeah, keep looking out for the feature film. I'm also Liann, Liann .Kaye. And
yes, and before I share my socials, I just want to thank everyone who came out today to support our films today and showing so much love for Philly Asian American Film Festival, especially on this really chilly day. Yeah, and thank you for traveling. I know a few of you traveled outside of Philadelphia to come watch our film, so thank you so much for coming to spend your Tuesday evening with us. And we're just so shocked that on a Tuesday night you guys packed this house. Sold out. So round of applause for yourselves. Thank you. But yeah, like Liann said, please follow us on Seoul Switch, both on TikTok and Instagram. Not TikTok. Okay, just Instagram. We're focusing on just one. And SeoulSwitch.com. So if you want to show any of your friends, but you can also follow me at Kevin Wu Official on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. I'm also working on new music, which is very exciting because the past 2 years I've been really just focusing on my acting career, like on Broadway and movies, but yeah, coming out with new music soon, finally, as a solo artist. So you should definitely follow up with my updates on social media. So thank you so much for your support and love you guys.
We love you too.
Soul Switch, please follow there. Mine is not as exciting, but mine is NCL Palermo, like Nicole without the vowels. Palermo is PALERMO 17 on Instagram.
You want a producer? She's
Yes, I am.